The day has finally come. Baker Mayfield has been traded to the Carolina Panthers. Matthew Peterson from Chat Sports here on the Browns Report, and a live show as we're going to react and break down the Baker Mayfield trade to Carolina for a 2024, right, you heard me correct, 2024 conditional fifth-round pick that could be turned into a fourth-round pick. Happy to have everyone here as we're going to break it all down, get you guys in on the show, and get ready for all of the, say drama and popcorn behind Baker going to Carolina, which in case you don't know, that's who the Browns play in Week 1, plus his new teammate, Robbie Anderson. He's got to be excited to have Baker on the roster after he said lots of great things about him a few months ago. But I want to start the show before we dive into really breaking it all down and let everyone, filter in and find their seats. Well, you guys miss Baker, right? Is this going to be a player who we look back on and go, yeah, he did a lot of great things for this team. Ultimately, Andrew Berry felt an upgrade could have been made, so he went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. But will you miss Baker? Y for yes, N for no. Just while we let everyone click on the notification and join the video, answer this question, I'll give some shout-outs, and then we'll really dive into the news here. In fact, Trace, can we just get the trade graphic up? Because it's trade. We got to look at the trade. But Zane saying no. Jeffrey, one day but not today. I think that's a great response, right? I think we can all look back and go, was Baker the first overall pick we all would have dreamed he would have been? No. But did he do a lot of good things? Yes. He ended the playoff drought in Pittsburgh, of all places, and sent Pouncey and Roethlisberger crying on the sideline. He was instrumental in that great 2020 run. Was he the only reason why they won a playoff game? No. You had guys like Myles Garrett, Jarvis Landry, and Denzel Ward on that team. But here's the trade, a conditional fifth-round pick that can turn into a fourth-round pick. Now, we're all probably wondering, what about the money? Oh, you got a Super Chat already. Let's go, Michael. That's my guy right there. We'll get the Super Chat on screen right now. And in fact, mountains are blue. Cheers to you, Michael. Always appreciate the support you show us here on the show. If you ever want to get on the screen, ever want to get on a Browns Report, Super Chat like my friend Michael did, and boom, you get yourself on screen. But Trace, could we please go to Garoppolo's tweet? Trace Gerard helping me out, just bat signals up in the air. Let's get things in motion. But the $18.8 million salary cap hit, the guaranteed money for Baker this year, the Browns will end up paying over half of it. $10.5 million, which means $8 million to Carolina. Plus, Mayfield agreed to trim $3.5 million off of his base salary. So, at the end of the day, the important takeaway here is you had $18.8 million owed to Baker and guaranteed. The Browns result in eating 10 of it. Honestly, not fine by me, right? It's not like the Browns were going to go out and have big free agent spending and, oh, no, now they don't have $10 million to spend this year. Anyone they wanted to sign, except for maybe like someone like Ndamukong Suh, there I said it, has already been signed. So they weren't going to spend that money elsewhere all that much. Just would have rolled over and kind of helped out next year. All right, cheers to Michael, though. We're going to start the live show in just a minute. Make sure you like today's video, by the way, if you haven't already. And give me your one-word reaction to this Baker trade. I'll give some more shout-outs here. One-word reaction. I'm trying to think of what word I would go with. I think for my one-word reaction would be finally, just right now, because I didn't want this to drag into training camp. I didn't want to see the ludicrous ideas of if Deshaun's suspended, could Baker maybe play for him? No, that was never going to happen. Anyone that really thought that was either A, a little out of touch with the situation, or B, living in a utopia where they thought Stefanski and Baker would shake hands and say, water under the bridge for 6 weeks. How about you play for us? Never saw it happening. But what's your one-word reaction? I'll go with finally. Jeffrey says cheers. Yeah, Zach, finally. Gamma Ray, relieved. That was probably my second choice. TLH saying it looks like he will get a long suspension. Let's not talk about Deshaun today anymore. Okay, it's about Baker. It's Baker's time. It's number 6 time. He's got the spotlight. Matthew, drama. There is a lot of drama. The Browns playing the Panthers, Week 1 is going to be the second best game of Week 1. Broncos-Seahawks Monday Night Football, Russ returning to Lumen Field. That's got to be the number one, but this is number two. It's going to be fun. Get your popcorn ready. A noon Central, 1 Eastern kickoff. I cannot wait. And, of course, I hope it's Baker versus Deshaun. I don't want to see Jacoby Brissett play week one. That wouldn't be fun for the drama. Vengeful week one, yeah, for sure. Baker, we know Baker. You better believe he's going to come in with not a chip on his shoulder, a boulder on his shoulder. It's Baker we're talking about. He is going to be scheming up and, not practicing, but preparing for the game of his life playing the Browns week one. But grade the trade. What would you guys give it a grade? A, B, C, D, or F. We'll start the show, the real show, in just a second. We nearly got 200 people live with us right now. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Make sure you hit the thumbs up icon. We're about to start really breaking this down and diving into everything. But grade the trade, A, B, C, D, or F. All right, I got the thumbs up from producer Trace. Mac, I see your super chat. We'll get to that. Yeah, let's get that up really quickly, and then we'll really dive into everything. Mike Dibble's in the chat. Dibble gives it a B. Dibble, a chat sports legend here. Appreciate you. Jeffrey giving it a B. Young Sky gives it a B. Nolan gives it a B. We got 2 supers. All right. Cheers to you, Mac. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And then we got Scott Wood from up north in Canada saying, rough return and lousy amount of salary to retain, but thank blank, this is how it's finally over. Thank you for the live feed. You broke the news for me. Happy to do that for you, Scott. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about just a 5th that could be a 4th for Baker. You saw Sam Darnold go for a 2nd. It looks like it's 1 year too late for the Browns. And kind of like when Trent Richardson got traded to the Colts for a 1st, he ruined it for every future running back because that was horrible for Indy. And now you're never going to see a running back go for a 1st-round pick. So I think that's what Sam Darnold is, the Trent Richardson of quarterbacks. If you are not so sure on him, you're not going to get a great return on your investment. But, all right, I think we're ready to rock and roll. Let's dive into a full breakdown of the Baker Mayfield trade to Carolina. Baker Mayfield has been traded to the Carolina Panthers. The saga is over, and he has found a new home. Matthew Peterson from Chat Sports here on the Cleveland Browns Report, breaking it down during our live show once we got the news from our friend Ian Rappaport, who tweeted it out saying, a new quarterback in Carolina. The Panthers are acquiring former number 1 overall pick Baker Mayfield for the Browns' 2024, not 3, but 4, conditional 5th-round pick, sources tell Rap Sheet and Pelissero. Deal is pending a physical as Baker is flying from his vacation to Charlotte, but the finances, which we'll look at in just a moment, are split to make it happen. But let's look at the trade here, all right? I think everyone maybe first gut reaction is just a 5th, right? Middle day 3 pick for Baker. I mean, we'll look at Baker's 2020 stats because if you look at that, you don't walk away thinking, this is a quarterback who can fetch you a 5th. Now, it can turn into a 4th, which I haven't seen the requirements as I'm filming this right now to do so. My guess is it'll be based a lot on Carson Wentz, or the Carson Wentz model, right, of playing time and snap percentage. But let's just, for argument's sake, assume it's a 4th because it most likely will be, barring an injury. And we learned last year an injury is not going to stop Baker anyway. 4th-round pick for Baker. I thought the Browns could get a 3rd. I really did. So in that regard, a little disappointed, but the market is what the market is. It came down to Carolina and Seattle. It's not like Andrew Berry chose the Panthers over a better offer from Seattle. Everyone knew that Baker wasn't going to play for the Browns this year, so that made it a lot more affordable. And ultimately, a 4th, 5th-round pick is what you get for him. Now, Mike Garafolo tweeting out what the contract situation looks like. This is important, all right? The Browns will pay Baker Mayfield $10.5 million this season, which means they trimmed over $8 million in cash and salary cap space. The Panthers will pay Baker $5 million, as Mayfield agreed to trim about $3.5 million from his base salary. So ultimately, Baker had an $18.8 million fully guaranteed contract this year. The Browns wound up paying just over half of it, right? We saw reports initially that the Browns and Andrew Berry didn't want to pay a cent. Well, looks like we got pretty far from that. Now, let's go to Charlotte, because this is the quarterback battle. Exclude Matt Corral, it's Baker versus Sam Darnold, and I don't think it's much of a competition. I think Baker, and this is not a hot take, this is an accurate take. Baker is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold in pretty much every single aspect of the game. Higher completion percentage, more yards per game, more touchdowns, just a few more interceptions in much more games, and a better overall record. The Panthers learned last year, Sam Darnold, not that guy, right? You're not that guy, Sam. You're not a starting quarterback. It was a third overall pick that was a mistake by the Jets, and he's ultimately going to probably be like a super Chase Daniel, who's going to be a backup for a long time, but I think his days starting are probably coming to an end. But what's your one-word reaction? I want you guys to get involved in the show, right? Be the chat in the chat sports here. What's your one-word reaction to the Baker Mayfield trade? Let me know down below in the comment section. My one-word reaction, I'll actually go with drama. Who else did the Browns play week 1 but the Carolina Panthers? Like, the script writes itself here. Great job by the NFL crew. Seeing the possibility of the Browns playing Baker going to Carolina. So why don't you have that be the week 1 matchup? Because Baker's going to come in fired up. That is not a Baker I am looking forward to seeing. I'm going to believe that he's going to play some good football. He's recovering from his shoulder surgery. He's going to be healthy. We know that Baker has shown times he can be a very good quarterback, right? A top 16, 10, whatever ranking you want to give him. The issue, of course, was consistency in that regard. But still, Baker week 1 versus old team, not a chip on his shoulder. It's me a freaking boulder on the guy's shoulder. Now, having said all that, I do wish Baker the best, right? I think we can all agree Baker did a lot of great things for the Browns. And I think what separates maybe Browns fans from your average NFL fan is a lot of people will go, you got rid of the only quarterback, the first quarterback to win you a playoff game in over 2 decades. Browns fans are going to tell you, he wasn't alone, right? Let's not overlook the contributions made by Denzel Ward, Olivier Vernon in 2020 for crying out loud, Myles Garrett. There are a lot of Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, a lot of key pieces. Juice. Wasn't just Baker. Now, it would be, unfortunately, the most Browns thing ever if Baker goes to the Panthers and beats the Browns week 1 against Jacoby Brissett, because Watson is suspended, knock on wood, hopefully that's not the case, and it's like, damn, we lost to the quarterback who we just traded away, and our new quarterback is suspended. That would be the laughingstock of the NFL once again. But hey, listen, when breaking news like this happens, we've got you covered. Make sure you subscribe. Plus, turn your notifications on. You get the notification bell. You get the notification push that, hey, Baker's been traded. We're going live here on the channel. That way you can join the show. So hit that bell icon, select all, and boom, you are locked in. All right, let's talk more about Baker and kind of just check out some stats here. Because last year, of course, really devalued what you could yield in a trade for him. The shoulder injury from week 2 and then got worse in week 6 against the Cardinals, 17 touchdowns to just 13 interceptions. But the 2020 numbers, I always flash back to 2018 when he set the NFL rookie record, 27 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. But let's take a closer look at 2020, because this is what the Panthers are buying in on right now. 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, right? The Panthers are looking at this and going, he may not be the long-term guy for us, but all it took was a 5th, maybe a 4th for this potential. That's worth the risk in our opinion. If it doesn't work out, so be it. We don't get to draft a defensive tackle in day 3, but the high upside of capturing that and believing your head coach, Matt Rule, can make something out of that on his like fourth attempt at a quarterback, right? Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, P.J. Walker, Cam Newton. Now he's on to Baker, plus drafting Matt Corral. But I think from Carolina, you walk away very happy that for just a fifth, you could maybe get that 2020 Baker for the rest of his career, and he could be a great quarterback for you. So let's have you guys get your red pens out and grade the trade for me. What would you give it? An A, B, C, D, or an F? Sound off in the comment section what grade you would give it. I give it a B. C is average. I give it a B because at least it's over with now. Could you have gotten maybe more for him if you played your cards right? Yes, but that would require some hindsight. You know what I'm saying? Once the Browns got Deshaun Watson and Baker requested a trade beforehand even, everyone knew he was not going to play for Cleveland this year, which meant he became a lot easier to acquire in a trade. And Andrew Berry knows this. He's a Harvard guy. He's pretty smart. So unfortunately, if you were to trade him back in February before all that happened, you would have gotten more for him. I believe that. But once you got Watson, once Baker requested a trade, there wasn't a ton of leverage left. Now, there was maybe a bidding war between Carolina and Seattle, but Rappaport on the Pat McAfee show just on Tuesday said there was no bidding war. Seattle was never interested. Now, there is some drama to this. Not only did the Browns play the Panthers week 1, but look at Baker's new teammate, Robbie Anderson. Remember back a few months ago when the rumors first emerged of Baker to Carolina and Robbie commenting no and then doubling down on that on other Instagram replies? This is going to be fun. Because Baker is Baker, and you better believe he's not going to come in there and just give Robbie a quick French kiss and go, okay, water under the bridge, we're all hunky-dory. No, this is going to be some fun drama, this league kind of stuff. But let's let me ask this last question. All right, last question of the show here. What's your favorite memory of Baker in Cleveland? Because there's kind of mixed emotions today of Baker's traded, right? It's over with now. We can put that behind us and get ready for next season and focus on this team and not have this cloud hovering around us of what are you going to do with Baker? If Watson is suspended, could Baker play? No, those are officially put to bed. So what's your favorite memory of Baker in Cleveland? Let me know what it is down below. For me, pretty simple. January 10th, 2021, Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, where Baker and the Browns sent the Steelers packing. And like I've said before, I close my eyes and I see Pouncey and Roethlisberger sitting on the bench crying and the Browns just destroying the Steelers. That would be my favorite memory of Baker. Did he do it all by himself? No, but when you're the quarterback of a team that wins a playoff game, it comes with the territory. You get to reap lots of rewards. And just like how if you lose a playoff game, you take that on the shoulder. So that would be my favorite Baker Mayfield moment. Let me know what yours is down in the comment section. The Jets game, his first appearance, coming off the bench after Tyrod Taylor got hurt and leading a comeback, that's a good honorable mention as well. Let's kind of wrap up the show by just quickly looking at this depth chart here just to look and see what the new quarterback room. I mean, this isn't new, but this is what it is official now, right? It's QB1 Watson, Brissett 2, Josh Dobbs at QB3. No Baker Mayfield. It is officially over with. And if it were to come to Jacoby Brissett playing some games, I think it's just a good refresher of what he did last season as a starter for the Dolphins in 5 games, over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So that's just some food for thought right there. And just put that in the back of your mind, file it away, just in case you're wondering, hey, if Brissett has to play this year because Baker's gone, even though, hey, I don't jump in Lake Erie anymore. I just realized that. I said if Baker took a snap for the Browns in 2022, polar plunge, that's over with. But make sure you subscribe to the channel. Listen, when stuff like this happens, we're going live. We're scrambling the jets. I mean, not like Top Gun style, but close to it. All right, not Tom Cruise, you know what I'm saying, but we're getting a video out. We're going live for you guys, so make sure you subscribe. If you're looking for a Browns YouTube channel to keep you up to date and informed and entertained all at the same time, you found the channel. Hit that big red button and subscribe. Let's give some shout-outs here. Favorite memory of Baker in Cleveland. Okay, we got some more details coming in, Trace? Oh, okay. So Sam Brown, producer here, lead producer, he's a big J. Went to Oklahoma. He's a big Baker guy. As he walks in the studio, here he comes. Yeah, he's got his OU hat on.
Hashtag free Baker.
Okay, I hated that. Baker was always free. People acted like he was put in Guantanamo Bay. I never understood the free Baker talk. But Jake Trotter, of course, was at OU with Baker, then gets the job with ESPN Cleveland in Cleveland. He's probably a little upset about this, but 10-1 odds. Baker to win Comeback Player of the Year. There's no real obvious candidate this year. By the way, we're going to have a mailbag, so get your questions in. Use hashtag Browns or Super Chat. Shame on me. Should have plugged that. But, yeah, your chance to get on the show when you use hashtag Browns or Super Chat. Skip the line. We have some more Super Chats come in, Trace. We'll get to those in a second. But, oh, my God, Trotter to Carolina. He wants to relocate. But Trotter was pissed during that Deshaun Watson press conference. Let's hit them now. But my last thought on the Comeback Player of the Year odds, there's no Dak or Burrow this year, who's a quarterback coming off a horrific injury, so it's kind of wide open. Jameis, producer Trey is saying Jameis for the Saints. He's a Saints guy. All right, cheers to Broadcast 011. Finally, all the best to Bake, and not even mad if he wins week. Oh no, let's not go that far now. All right, it's still the Browns week 1. All right, I'll wish Baker the best week 2, but not in week 1. All right, my guy Zach Schaefer coming in. He's always in the comment section. Can't wait for Garrett to sack. Oh, I love that take. Can't wait for Garrett to sack Baker Mayfield. That's gonna be fun. Cheers to you guys. If you want to get on the show, like my friends Zach and everyone else, Michael, all the good guys who have already super chatted, really simple stuff. Hit that super chat button, make any donation you're comfortable making, and then boom, you skip the line. Or you can use hashtag Browns, and that way you can get in the queue to get a question on screen, but then you're at the mercy of producer Trace. Marshall can't do it today. He's got his Giants live show. So we're rolling with Trace. Happy to have him as he stepped into the firing line here. Michael says B, by the way, OBJ to Carolina. OBJ to the Browns, and he takes number 6. That would be funny. Not going to happen, but that would be pretty good. Follow me on Twitter. We're about to jump into a live Q&A at Matthew Petey. That link's hopefully going in the live chat. We got Chinsky on the community. Yeah, we'll get Chinsky to put that in there. Okay. All right. We ready to dive into a mailbag? Okay, so we got a live mailbag. Use hashtag Browns or Super Chat to get on screen. Trace, we got the thumbs up. We'll be doing 2 mailbags, so if you don't get your question the first time around, don't go anywhere. We'll have a second mailbag going out later. All right, let's dive into a Cleveland Browns mailbag. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, filming this mailbag during our live Baker Mayfield show, of course, airing on Wednesday when the news broke. So if you want to be on a future mailbag, subscribe. Plus, when news like this happens, like Baker gets traded and we go live, you can join the show. But let's dive into some questions stemming from the Baker Mayfield trade, because there's going to be a bit of a domino effect of what's next. So, first question, coming in from the Brown Tiger. Does Robbie Anderson get traded now? No, I don't think so for 3 reasons, okay? Reason number 1, you don't trade for a quarterback like Baker Mayfield. You don't trade for a quarterback and then decide, okay, let's start unleashing assets that can help that quarterback, be as successful as possible. 2, Anderson's contract, which he recently signed with the Panthers, not very friendly to trade. It wouldn't make a lot of sense for Carolina. 3, probably the reason why you're asking this question, because Robbie Anderson kind of threw some shade at Baker, and it's going to be awkward in that locker room. You're Robbie Anderson, right? You're not a top 10 wide receiver who can request a trade and the team honors it for what you've given the organization. No, they're going to say, figure it out. Question coming in from my guy, Jeffrey. Take a shot for DK Metcalf now. No, Jeffrey. I like where your heart's at, but it's not happening. The only slim chance of DK ever coming to Cleveland would have been Baker to go to Seattle, get DK back, and you don't ask for much, and you give the Seahawks a pick plus Baker to get Metcalf because you don't have a first anyway to offer Seattle. Metcalf, he ain't coming to Cleveland. That's just not going to happen. But speaking of trades, is Andrew Berry done? You know what I'm saying? Is he going to enjoy the next 2.5 weeks of the offseason until training camp opens up? Or do you see him making some more moves, whether it is for a wide receiver, not DK, bring the aspirations down, maybe a defensive lineman? Let me know Y for yes or N for no. Robbie Schneider coming in with the question saying, now do we think making a signing move with a little boost in the cap space? So there are some free agents still available that I think could maybe be intriguing to the Browns. Will Fuller, for example, and Ndamukong Suh, right? But here's what I'll say about Fuller. I only see the Browns signing a wide receiver if Deshaun Watson is suspended for a lengthy enough period of time that Andrew Berry feels, listen, Watson could elevate DPJ, Anthony Schwartz, and David Bell. Don't have that much faith in Brissett doing the same. So let's give Brissett some more weapons to work with so that he can manage and hold down the fort until Watson returns. So that's the only way I see someone like Fuller or a wide receiver being signed. As for Suh, this really hasn't changed that. They still had over $40 million in cap space before the trade, so it wasn't like they were strapped for cash. I only see a signing happening if during training camp, Jordan Elliott, Perion Winfrey, Tommy Togiai, they don't look the part, and Barry says, you know what? I wanted to believe in you guys, the young crew, the cheaper option, working out for us at defensive tackle. Not happening. Let's bring someone like Suh in. We got a question coming in from Zach Schaefer, longtime supporter of the show. Appreciate you. A super chat. Thank you so much, Zach. Cheers to you. Do you think the Browns will sign a free agent? Kind of going off the last question, not really. The only way I see it happening is if they want to get a wide receiver because Watson is suspended for a while, or like I said just a moment ago, they don't feel the defensive line is up to par during training camp. And let's say especially if Watson gets a 0-game suspension, right? The no punishment comes down and it's all chips in to win the Super Bowl this year. Why cut any corners when you got some cash and bring someone like Suh in? Question coming in from a Chat Sports legend, Mike Dibble, super chatting, saying, hey, Matthew, with the money free, do the Browns sign anyone else or are they done? So we got a lot of free agency questions here. I hate to just kind of go in circles, but unfortunately, Mike, I kind of got the same answer for you like I had for Zach and earlier. I just don't see it happening. I think Barry is very content with the wide receiver room, and I think he is optimistic about the defensive line. And the other parts of the roster seem pretty complete to me. Linebacker, no. Secondary, no. Offensive line, no. I just don't see it happening unless an injury or, like I said, Watson suspension. That would change some things. Motivation now on the show asking, do you think the Browns are confident about the Watson situation with this trade? That's a great question, right? Except for now kind of backtracking because Baker was never going to play for the Browns this year. I think those two things were separate. Watson and Baker, right? They were never going to merge, meaning if Watson were to be suspended, well, could Baker play for a couple games? No. I've long said on the show, Baker would never take a snap for the Browns in 2022. And if he did, I would be doing a polar plunge in Lake Erie. It's not going to happen. Would have been fun for everyone to see me do that, right? I was going to wear a Speedo and a Baker Mayfield jersey. But I don't think the two are all that related. Plus, I think the Browns are kind of actually more or less a lot like us. They're waiting for the judge, Sue L. Robinson, to make a decision, and they know more than we do, but they may not know a lot more. Now, when breaking news like Baker Mayfield gets traded or Deshaun Watson gets traded or Amari Cooper gets traded, we go live here on the channel, and that's why you subscribe. So make sure you hit the sub button. Get locked in for the best Browns YouTube coverage out there. Question coming in from Adventures with Adrenaline. Darnold to Seattle because of the Pete Carroll and USC connection. We used the pick we got from Carolina to trade for Jimmy G. This guy gets it. I mean, this is some deep stuff right here. So Darnold, to back up, has the same contract Baker does. He's, 2018 draft pick who's got fifth-year option picked up, owed fully guaranteed $18.8 million. I don't think they cut Darnold. That just makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? if Baker went for this, Darnold, you have to trade picks for someone to take off that contract off your books. Seattle might be looking at Darnold now, but they're not going to, it would be Darnold plus like a fourth for a six just to get Seattle to agree to take on Darnold's contract. Jimmy G to Cleveland, put a pin in it. Got to wait and see what happens with Watson. I wouldn't absolutely rule it out, but I think it would have to be a very long suspension, 10 games to a year for the Browns to look to trade for Garoppolo. Question coming in from Rob Sarah Stover. Do the Browns sign OBJ now? Yes, and he comes back wearing number 6. No, I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Browns. One, remember, there's the news that came out that he actually tore his ACL reportedly before the Super Bowl, and it just really ruptured during the game. But regardless, he got surgery after the Super Bowl. Took him 11 months to recover last time. Let's just say it's 10 months this time, or even 9. That puts him November range. I'm guessing he signs midseason. Jeffrey with our next question, longtime supporter of the show. Appreciate you. Watson wins comeback player of the year after Sue says no violation of code. Let's just say that happens. I think Watson's got enough bad PR right now from the vote getters, or from the voters. They're not voting him comeback player of the year. You don't win the award for sitting out a year because of a mixture of requesting a trade and the team being unable to trade you because of allegations. No. Baker, 10-1 odds though. So maybe that could happen. I wouldn't be blown away if Baker were to win comeback player of the year, especially because you don't have a Joe Burrow who came off the horrific knee injury. And Alex Smith, also really horrific knee injury. You don't have that this year, so it could be Baker. I wouldn't be blown away. Now, we also have content for you guys over on Rumble. So check us out, rumble.com/Browns Report. It's another video platform service, but a really cool feature about Rumble is, let's say you want to watch the video, but you want to also be on your phone and text or go on Twitter. You can have audio only, like a podcast, playing in the background and do whatever else you want to do on your phone. So follow us at Rumble, rumble.com/Browns Report. We've got some more questions to get to. Jeffrey once again saying, bro, boo Fuller, boo. He's broken and will be on IR all year. Might as well have kept Baker if we're going to waste a roster spot. Yeah, the issue with Will Fuller has been the injuries, right? He's played less than 50% of career games possible. But when he hooked up with Deshaun Watson, he was an awesome vertical threat. And you don't really have that guaranteed on the roster right now. Amari Cooper is not that player, right? He's not a stretch the field level of wide receiver. You want Anthony Schwartz to be that. You believe DPJ can be that. Bell will be the Landry replacement in the slot, but you don't confidently have a down-the-field, stretch the defense out receiver like Will Fuller can offer, but you're right on with the injuries. But when he's healthy, he's a good receiver, no doubt about it. Question coming in from Centurion. Last question of the show, too. What can the Panthers' record be? So Panthers fans, I'm guessing right now, are probably a little upset about this because they were full-on tank for Bryce Young or tank for C.J. Stroud. The issue with that is Scott Fritter and Matt Rule, the GM and the head coach in Carolina, aren't about that. Because if they tank and have 1 or 2 wins, they're not going to be the coach and the GM for the next quarterback, right? They're not going to reap the rewards. So for their mind's sake and for their job, Baker can come in there and, the NFC South, you got 6 games there. You got the Falcons, that could be 2-0. Saints, let's say you split it 1-1. Bucks, they're going to be good, but the Bucks have stumbled at times against division opponents. Like New Orleans had Tampa's number since Brady got there. So NFC, not uber talented. I'll say 7-10. I think Baker could go 7-10. Not as good as a roster he had in Cleveland, no doubt about it. But the NFC is not as competitive. So that's what I'll predict the Panthers' record to be. Week 1, by the way, like I said, Browns, Panthers, get your popcorn ready. Baker revenge game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It'll be the second best game of the first weekend of football, only behind Russell Wilson returning to Seattle and playing on his new team with the Broncos. But it's going to be fun to watch Baker play his old team, the Browns, week 1. No doubt about it. All right, let's get some shout-outs here. Who you got week 1, Browns, Panthers? Let me know down in the comments section. CLE for the Browns or CAR for the Carolina Panthers. I'll be looking in the comments section, so let me know down below who you're going with, and I'll be replying. Hopefully you're going CLE, but if you want to go Carolina, you got to take some medication because I don't see that happening any way possible. All right, let's get some shout-outs in now. Jump the gun a moment there, but let me know who you guys are thinking. Rich, I look down and the first thing I see is Rich saying Carolina. No. Richard, you're wrong. Could you tell our intern right now, Ryan Chinsky, is really a big fan of the Browns because he's spamming CLE. Also went to Oklahoma. Also a big Baker guy. So he's gonna be torn week 1. But Brando says the Browns. Alex saying the Browns. E. Garza, 6 more will come. Okay, well that's not what we're talking about, Garza. TLH says the Browns. Brenda, shout out to you. I know you're part of the Noti game. Says the Browns. Glenn says the Browns. KJ and Grant, you love your shout outs. Here's another one. You're saying go Browns. I'm with you, man. Bam, bam. Frank says Carolina. Brissett is the quarterback. It's a big obstacle. There's no doubt about it. But even with Brissett and the Browns roster, plus Baker and the Panthers roster, I'm still going to go with the Browns. I think the Browns win. I wouldn't go all the way to say if Dobbs was QB, but close-ish. All right, we got another mailbag coming up in just a moment, by the way. So if you missed an opportunity to get on the first mailbag, use hashtag Browns or Super Chat. You Super Chat, you get a beer's cheers for me. Mountain was blue to start. We're getting a bit silver now, so I got to drink quicker. But if you want to get me drunk, you can Super Chat, and I'll cheers to you, and we'll talk about the Brownies. All right, so now producer Trace in my ear saying he will do a beer bong. What's your minimum for a Super Chat? $20. Producer Trace does a beer bong on the show. We do it different here at Chat Sports. Sorry. No offense. Mary Kay does a great job covering the Browns. I could never see her doing a beer bong. Just saying. We're all thinking it. Could never see it happen, but she does a great job. She was right. I'll take I'll eat my words. Didn't see even the Watson trade happening yet. Look at us now. Who would have thought? Not me. All right. We ready with enough questions for our next show, our next mailbag here? Glenn, Cleveland has a great front office. Yeah, we'll talk about Andrew Berry in this mailbag probably because I think so too. Also, the live poll. Curious. B is the leading vote getter for grading the trade. Yep. 5th round pick could be a 4th. B sounds kind of right to me. So we'll revisit the trade, but I think we're ready to jump into a Browns mailbag. All right, let me give a quick sip and a quick cheers. Follow me on Twitter at Matthew Petey. We ready, Trace? Let's do this thing. Today's Browns mailbag is presented to you by Aura, an all-in-one digital safety tool that not only keeps your wallet protected when you're online, but also your identity. They are offering the Dog Pound a 14-day free trial when you get started at aura.com/chatsports. I'm proud to tell you about their awesome features later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. But let's jump into a mailbag with our first question coming in from Rob Sarah Stover. Do the Browns sign OBJ now? Sounds a little familiar. No, I don't think the Browns sign Odell Beckham Jr. now. I think OBJ waits until midseason and he'll pick the best team out there and chase another ring. Plus, the Rams want him back. So I think LA is probably the most likely option. The Brown Tiger with the next question. I think both sides won this deal. Browns happy and Panthers happy with this deal. Go Brownies, woof woof. Yeah, that was a horrible woof woof on my part. But yeah, if you're Carolina, all it cost you was at most a 4th round pick we can look at what Baker did in 2020. He had some awesome stats. In fact, let's flash those 2020 stats up here. If all it costs is a 4th round pick, 5th that could turn into a 4th, we'll assume a 4th just for argument's sake. 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Sam Darnold ain't getting close to those numbers. So, granted, much better roster with Cleveland, much better offensive line and supporting cast, but still, I think the Panthers come away happy, and the Browns, I think, come away happy just to kind of have this over with and proceed with the new era of Browns football under Deshaun Watson. The Rainbow Cow has our next question. What's our weakest position group and strongest? That's a great question, Rainbow Cow. I'll start with weakest and say defensive line. One, we've learned Andrew Berry doesn't value the defensive line all that much, right? He doesn't believe in putting in a ton of resources and money into it and just kind of skating by a little bit and happy to have mediocre run defense like he had with the two Maliks last year. Strongest offensive line still? I don't think that changes. Maybe running back? I actually might pivot to running back, but still, either way, you've got Teller, Petonio, Wills, Conklin. We'll see what Nick Harris is all about, but I liked what I've seen out of times from him last year and whatnot. But running back room, I mean, Dearness Johnson is your third running back. He could be the starting running back for a handful of teams, and he's RB3 on your team. So I guess I'll go with the running back room, but offensive line's right there with it. Pop Johnson with our next question. Is this the Browns' best roster? Best roster we've seen in years? Good question. I think so. One, you've never had a quarterback to the magnitude of Deshaun Watson. I think we've all seen the stats before. Deshaun Watson's time in Houston would have broken the Browns' passing record twice. And the quarterback is everything. Running back room is somewhat similar to years past, but still, it's still great. Wide receiver room, I think on paper may not be as good as it was with Landry and OBJ, but that never really worked out as well as we all would have hoped. But I think you got to say it's the best roster since the Cardiac Kids days. So I'll say yes, this is the best roster in a long time, at least in this century. All right, next question coming in from, question for you guys. Where does Baker rank as a Browns QB? I've had one too many Coors Lattes. Where does Baker rank as a Browns quarterback? Is he number one? We want to go Birdie number one? Okay. It's tough because he only played 4 seasons for Cleveland, but in those 4 seasons, he was the best quarterback in the last 22 plus years, in my opinion. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Let me know, where would you rank Baker as a Browns quarterback? Zachary Wolf with the next question on the show. The NFL is a business. Get over it. I am over it. I don't really know what you're referring to, Zach, but it is a business, and that's a great point. So if I'm going to pivot this to maybe more of an actual question, in Carolina, they've got some interesting drama now between Baker hanging out with Robbie Anderson. And Robbie Anderson had some maybe not so nice things to say about Baker a few months ago on Instagram and social media. But like you said, Zach, it's a business. And Robbie Anderson, he ain't a top 10 wide receiver. You got to get over it. Now, what you don't have to get over, or you should get over, is having your identity compromised and your credit card hacked and all that bad stuff. So keep your family protected when you go to aura.com/chatsports. Here's the awesome feature that Aura is offering, which is an all-in-one digital safety company. Make sure your credit card and your identity is never compromised online. Plus, they have family plans. So that way, if you've got some young ones who, by the way, might borrow your phone and go online and spend a couple $100s on eBay like my sister did when she was 7 years old, or can help prevent that. 14-day free trial right now, aura.com/chatsports. Links in the comments and the description. Start that 14-day free trial and you'll thank me later. Question coming in from Adventures with Adrenaline. How can Watson be suspended with 0 physical, video, audio evidence? Kraft, Jones, and Snyder, no evidence, no consequences. So we're pivoting a little bit here, but let's talk about Deshaun for a moment because you're right. The NFL, after doing their entire investigation, presented primarily 5 cases to Judge Sue Robinson, which included, like you said, no physical, no threats, no coercion, and no video, no audio. It is just a little bit of he say, she say with some screenshots of text and whatnot. But this is what the NFLPA is throwing at the league and at Robinson. You had Robert Kraft with the massage parlor in Florida before the AFC Championship game, and the NFL admitted they did an investigation and did not offer up a consequence when he was absolutely guilty of this. Plus, Jones in Dallas, Jerry has done some scandalous stuff. Nothing ever happens to him. And Dan Snyder, an all-time move, avoiding a subpoena by hanging out on your mega yacht in the south of France. Baller. I mean, you got to respect it to a degree. But still, the NFL owners get off, but yet they're under the NFL personal conduct policy just like the players are, like you pointed out, adventures. Another question coming in from my guy, Zach. I was referring to the free Baker. Okay, yes, that Baker needed to be traded. Thank you, Zach. Now we're on the same page. There were a lot of people saying free Baker. He was on vacation. He was hanging out in Mexico with Emily and their friends for a long time. It was very free. Never understood what that meant. The Browns didn't want to, he wasn't a hostage. They wanted to trade him during the draft, for crying out loud. He goes to the Panthers. They shake hands. They go their separate ways. They will reconvene week 1 this year, and they won't see each other likely for another 4 years if Baker's still with Carolina. He is free. I never understood. That made no sense to me. Question coming in from my guy, KJ and Grant. How many touchdowns do you think Donovan Peoples-Jones will get this year? What about 7? Okay, I think that's a good number for this year. He led the Browns in receiving last year. Put me down for 7 TDs for DPJ. TLH with the next question on the show. Do you see a quarterback battle with Mayfield and Darnold? And do you think Matt Corral will take over in the near future? Well, we can compare Baker and Darnold's stats, and we'll get that on screen for you guys in just a moment. I don't think it will be a battle. Yes, Baker's not coming in there and just being handed the job, but he will win the battle. I don't think there's much conversation about that. I mean, when you compare their careers, Baker is better in every single statistical way possible, in my opinion. Higher completion percentage, more yards per game, way more touchdowns, 4 more interceptions in a lot more games, and a better record overall. So, yes, I think Baker is going to win this job. And as for Matt Corral, maybe. I'm not a big fan of Matt Corral. He ran a Mickey Mouse offense at Ole Miss, and I don't think he's actually going to be able to take that next step in the NFL and start reading defenses. Now, here's a question I've got for you guys. Do you have faith in Andrew Berry, right? A, B, do you have faith in him? Y for yes or N for no? While you're getting your votes in down below, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way, you stay informed and entertained all at once. So if you're looking for a Browns YouTube channel with the latest news and rumors surrounding your Brownies, this is the channel for you. You don't need to hit the sub button. Just tap it. Boop, and boom, you're locked in. Question coming in from Rainbow Cow. Honest thoughts. Do we make the AFC Championship game or make an appearance in the AFC Championship in the next 3 seasons? Yes. That's my honest take right there. Now, of course, it's tough to answer that for this season, not knowing who the quarterback is. If Deshaun Watson is suspended more than 4 games, I would be weary because the AFC's loaded this year. And I think it's really going to come down to seeding to get yourself on the best path for home field advantage in the playoffs. But in the next 3 years, guys, the Browns have one of the best rosters, if quietly not the best roster. If you took this Browns roster and moved it to Pittsburgh or Dallas, everyone would say this is after Mahomes and Allen, this is the best team in the NFL. But because it's the Browns and because it's Cleveland, no one really wants to give them the respect that they deserve for what a phenomenal roster this team has. Question from Repulsive Gravity. Haven't seen you in the comment section in a long time. Happy to have you back, though. Remember when people wanted the Browns to release Baker for nothing? Couldn't be me. Could not be me. But, yes, I mean, that was always a bit of a wild thought. The only defense I'll give them is, you go back to March, it was just, mayhem. It was like Ricky Bobby, pretzel in my brain. I don't know how to compute this. All of a sudden, we go from Baker to Deshaun to Baker requesting a trade to a trade not happening to Deshaun will play. What are we doing here? But Baker was going to take up a roster spot this year and be traded mid-season to an injured team with an injured quarterback before he got released. Last question coming in from Anthony Latham. I hope I pronounced that right, Anthony. Is the plan to just roll over the $49 million in cap? Only use I can see this season is to sign vets in case of injury, although I like another veteran defensive tackle and a swing tackle for depth. I like the idea, you point out at the end, a veteran tackle. I think that could provide a lot of veteran leadership on this team, like Ndamukong Suh. Swing tackle will be an interesting idea. Not great tackles out there right now. Dwayne Brown and Eric Fisher are probably the best ones that come to mind. Bobby Massey with the Broncos last year was half decent. Now, as for the $49 million you're referring to, yes. Now, the Browns have a lot of key players locked up. They don't have to pay Nick Chubb or Wyatt Teller, right? These are all contracts that are secured. But if DPJ breaks out this year, you're going to have to pay him. You look on the defensive side, most likely Greedy Williams ain't coming back because I think that's why you drafted Martin Emerson, so you can go cheap for another couple years at corner. But Grant Delpit, if he balls out, he'll have to get paid. So I could see Andrew Berry thinking a couple steps ahead here, thinking, I've got a lot of key pieces locked up, but I don't want to lose Delpit or DPJ or thinking around the room, JOK, although he's still got, he's entering just his second year, so he's still got a couple more years on that rookie contract. But I think that's probably Andrew Berry's line of thinking. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Matthew Petey if you are not already. That way you stay informed, because when stuff like this happens, when Baker Mayfield gets traded, we have you covered. I'm tweeting all about it. So hit me up on Twitter if you have not already. And I'll see you guys later with more Browns coverage. All right, let's get some shout-outs here to kind of wrap up the show. Feels so weird. Baker to Carolina. Feels right. I thought he was going to go to Seattle, but he ends up in Charlotte. Super chat to beat the buzzer here before I got to start. Oh, shit, I got some work to do. I got to go produce some videos. Okay. But appreciate everyone for tuning into the show. Do you trust Andrew Berry? Mason, good to see you in the chat. You're saying yes. Motivation says yes. John Baker says yes. Fletcher's saying no. Everyone boo Fletcher. Fletcher's a fool. Fletcher's an idiot. Motivation no, saying yes. Jeffrey, woof woof. That's how my sister says it. Keith saying yes. Yes. Captain Orange saying yes. Easy Dinger, of course you do. Chris Hubbard. Yeah, I meant to bring up Chris Hubbard and James Hudson. You've got some good swing tackles, referring to that last question on the mailbag. So I don't really see that probably in the line of fire for Andrew Berry. Yeah, Zachary Wolf. Boo Fletcher. Good job, Zach. Everyone boo Fletcher. All right. I think that's probably going to do it. Super chat if you want to get on screen before we wrap up the show. Appreciate all of you guys for joining. What do we have? Nearly an hour-long live here talking about Baker to Carolina. Let's just quickly look at the trade graphic, and then I want to go to the Garoppolo tweet because that's a little important about the salary stuff here. So one last time, the Browns receiving a 2024 conditional fifth-round pick, could turn into a fourth. Panthers get Baker Mayfield. And, of course, the salary implications here. Garoppolo tweeting out the Browns are going to pay Baker over $10.5 million of Baker Mayfield's salary this season. Meanwhile, the Panthers picking up not even $8 million because Mayfield agreed to trim about $3.5 million off of his base salary. So that's all the details on the Baker Mayfield side of things for now. That's going to probably do it for us on today's show. Really appreciate everyone for joining us here on the show. Thank you so much for making us a part of your busy, we'll call it, news-filled day regarding the Cleveland Browns on a Wednesday afternoon. But it's over. Baker is going to Carolina.